Yes, sir. Uh,
Okay, so let's get to some hands-on here. Open the browser and browse to portal.azure.com. This is the place where all the work on Azure basically is done. If not this, you have the command line option also, which can be used from within Windows PowerShell or Linux shell script and something like that. You just need to have the right Azure SDK and packages installed on your machine before you go for the command line interface. Now, usually this command line interface is for the IT support team who will be doing the deployments, will be setting up the environments and basically providing the support to the end users. For developers like us, we probably will never be interested in, using and remembering the commands. And for that reason, here we have the portal itself, using which most of the things can be done graphically. Just sign in. My account has been enabled with multi-factor authentication, so that's where I need to approve from my phone. Once it is approved, it just goes ahead, asks the question like, if I want to keep this user signed in, I can say yes, this is my private machine, so I can do that. And I should be in. Yes, so the view that you get may or may not be same. It depends on what kind of view has been set as default for you. It could be this view that I'm having, which is called as dashboard view, or it could be this view, which is called as home view. Again, the background for me is coming as dark. This is all about themes that have been made available by Microsoft on this platform. So all these things, if you want to change, you can click on this gear icon in the toolbar. Basically, that represents settings. And here you have appearance plus startup view. So if you want the menu to be always visible, you can say dog. If you want that hamburger menu to toggle the view of this menu bar, you can say fly out. Theme, I have selected dark. In your case, by default, it may be this because new subscription you have just created. Then we have high contrast theme also. And when the login happens, where I land, dashboard or home view, that is selected here. I have selected dashboard, so I get dashboard. Okay, so if you make any changes, you just need to say apply. This bell icon is also important. Here it shows how much credit amount is remaining into your account. This is where we have a tool called as Cloud Shell. So within the browser, if you want to work with the commands, you can do that from here. And the advantage of this is basically you need not have PowerShell installed on your machine or anything installed on your machine, because this Cloud Shell works directly on server and it has got all the environment required. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to create an app service, where app service is nothing but like a host, which can host any web application or some web services or web API services, anything that is delivered over HTTP. Understood? Just like GoDaddy hosting, you get some server space there, right? So this is a past service being made available by Azure. Let's say create resource. You can click create resource here. You can click create resource in the menu bar. Anywhere you get that option, you can just go ahead. You will be on this blade, and here you click on web app. This is not a new thing. We have seen that to check whether the subscription has been activated properly or not. Am I right? So everyone must be on this page. Yes?
Yes.
In subscription box, you must be getting only one option.
Yes, sir.
Sponsorship, Azure Pass, something, right?
Yes.
Select that. There is a concept of resource group. What it is? Just like namespaces and schemas that we discussed within databases, schemas in databases and namespaces in C Sharp, to group the like for like elements together, we basically go for it. Related resources together, we go for it. Likewise, here, the similar role of a container is played by a resource group. Every resource has to go in resource group only. Resource group allows us to delete all the resources together, move resources from one subscription to another subscription easily, and provide the accessibility rights also to different users easily. Just like a folder, what it does in Windows File Explorer. Same advantages we get for the resources from here. Have we created any resource group till now? Answer is simple. We have just started. We have not done anything. And which means there is no resource group also deployed, correct? Correct.
Yes, sir.
If I go here, in your case, it may be completely empty. Can you check?
Yes, it's empty.
Why is it so?
Because we haven't yet
Nothing
started.
created yet. We are using the subscription for the very first time. Am I right? So what you'll do, you'll say create new. Small link is there, create new. The pop-up comes. Here you give the name. Let's say I'm going to name it as Providence Dash RG to make sure that this entity actually represents a resource group. Then say OK. Fine. Is that fine?
Sir, in my case, it is showing that PGSH shared services, sir, in the subscription.
Which user you see here? You have login with Providence.
Yes, sir.
Switch that. Done?
Yes, sir. Done, sir.
Next, it is asking for is some instance details, where the first detail it is asking for is name for the web app. So this is not actually the app name. Basically, this is a subdomain that will be created inside Azure websites.net domain. And this will be basically mapped to your host that you are going to create or you are going to get at the end of this process. This name hence needs to be globally unique. What does it mean? It needs to be globally unique means globally unique means what?
It should not conflict with any other user's web app name.
Across the world, this name should not be repeated. Understand? So here I am going to name this as OIPROV demo app. Please don't use this name as it is. Either my deployment will fail or your deployment will fail if we use the same names. As I've already said, this needs to be globally unique. If you want to use the same name, don't forget to mention your initials either at the beginning or at the end of the name, or maybe some numeric values if you want. Understood?
So can we use hyphen?
Hyphen works, no problem. We do have live websites which use hyphens, right? So there is no problem. Clear? Here we have three options: code, Docker container, and static web app. Can someone tell me what these three options are about?
How to use the web app as?
What kind of web application you are going to deploy into this host? Code means you are going to deploy the application with source code, or maybe the application with compiled code. Static web app means it will have only static files, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and there is nothing else. There is no server side environment. Understood? Understood?
Yes, sir.
What is Docker container? Any idea? Now see, many times you might have noticed yourself, or maybe you might have heard someone saying that I wrote some code. I tested that code on my machine, developer machine. It worked fine. But when I deploy it to the test environment or production environment, Same code is not working there, it's failing, it's crashing. So tell me, what could be the reason for that failure?
There might be some difference between the development environment and the production environment on which the code is running.
What kind of environment differences you mean to say here?
Very rudimentary. Actually, I don't have that detailed idea, but I think that maybe the for a very rudimentary thing, the compilers may be different, the version may be different. There might not be enough support.
No.
Kind of thing.
Your answer is correct, but this part is not correct actually. It has nothing to do with version or compiler or anything. Because when I deploy the compiled code. So I don't require the compilers again. Got it?
Different operating systems require different processes.
Yes. So that is perfect. Operating system configurations may be different. Mostly the development will happen on the workstation type operating systems, whereas deployment would happen on some server operating systems. There might be difference in the operating system. There might be differences in the service packs or patches. There could be some software running on server which has a conflict with our application. Any reason, right? Right?
Yeah.
How do we troubleshoot this? And before that, how do we find out that the issue is because of this operating system level mismatch? Would I think it will be easy to find and troubleshoot, or it will be time consuming and complex?
Can't say whether it will be time consuming or complex, but it would be somewhat difficult to find out, I think.
So
That's right.
some we can actually program some kind of test cases and then we can run it on all the computers. So I don't think the initial creation of those test
Ultimately,
cases.
even if you write the test cases, those test cases you will be running on your own machine where the code is already working. And that tested code only you are deploying, and there it is failing. So when it comes to test cases, they will not be actually looking for testing the dependencies and all. Test cases mostly are functional tests, right? They just check whether the work is happening or not and whether it is happening correctly or not. Understood?
Yes, sir.
So that issue that we just discussed, do you understand that it's going to be problematic every then and now for every other application? We'll never get the same environment as that of the production or testing, right?
Yes, sir.
That's where the concept of container has been brought in.
So we
Yes.
can use virtualization to actually.
You are right. You are right. But if you are using virtual machine and virtualization, say the size of deployment, how big it will be. A basic virtual machine also occupies 15 to 20 GB on your disk. And suppose your application size is 200 MB. So would your client actually be happy to get a 15-20 GB of installation instead of just 200 MB? If it is you to decide, probably you will say no, correct?
Yes, sir. I mean, if there's no other way, I mean, in that case, we can go for that. But if there's a better and more efficient alternative around, then I think it will be stupid.
Correct. So that's where Docker container or simply the container concept came in, which uses virtualization only, but it actually creates a virtualization level directly on the target machine's operating system. Along with the deployment, not only your application code gets deployed, but all of its dependencies are also deployed. The job of OS is done by the target OS only, but on the top of OS, whatever the components you are using, whatever the versions you are using, those are privately carried by your application. So practically what you do is you develop your application in an environment, and that environment as it is deployed on the client. I mean production or test environment, instead of deploying only the code. So whenever I run my program on any machine, basically I would be running it out of Docker container. And that Docker container might be a Windows container. It can still run on Linux machine, because your container provider basically knows how to interact with the OS to get the things done. That makes my application development experience much more better, much more richer. Yes or no? I don't get into the dependency issues at all.
So richer in the sense?
Richer means, see, here I will not be wasting any time, first of all, in terms of finding out the issues, dependencies and all. Second thing, which is very important, is I'm not going to deploy a virtual machine. I will be deploying very small component. So if my code is 200 MB, my overall deployment size may be around 220 to 250 MB. It is still much more better compared to 200 MB with 1520 GB. Don't you think it is providing me highly optimized environment with full access to the resources running on that machine? The hardware resources, basically full access. Virtual machine will have limited access. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Because the container is not a VM, it runs as an extension to OS. It will have full access to the machine. It will run natively. Your machine performance also will not be going down. Correct? You can say it creates a mini virtual machine on the top of whichever the target OS you have. I don't need a server to be Windows server only just because my application is a .NET framework based application. I containerize it and then deploy it. So the target environment, whether it is Windows or Linux or Mac, I don't care. My application is going to work. Yes?
Yes, sir. But there's one question, sir, I have in my mind. There are three types of applications that can be done here with single code, Docker container, and static web application.
Yes.
If by what we discussed till now, it seems that containerizing our whole application is the most efficient way of deploying code to that server. So why they are providing this code and static web application differently? Because that will be kind of inefficient in comparison with the Docker container, right?
See, efficiency wise, there is no difference as such. The availability of the three options is because the cost involved in setting up them. Static web app occupies very little space and doesn't require any special feature from the server other than serving the files for HTTP request. A basic web server can also work there, hence the cost will be low. Code, on the other hand, requires a server environment. Like if code is .NET code, you need .NET CLR and all. If code is Java code, you need Java SDK. If it is PHP code, you require PHP environment. So there is a cost associated with this environment being made available. And then Docker container basically again charges more for providing you the virtualized space, direct access. So cost wise, here we have choice depending on the kind of work I'm doing. See, if I'm having a plain company informational website, business website, which might be having most of the pages are static pages only, why would I spend more for hosting that application with Docker container? I can simply say, okay, my content is all static, let's deploy on static web app. Similarly, I may have code where I have two choices, code and Docker. But if I'm not deploying my application on multiple types of targets, I can save some cost over there. Also, when my code is changing very rapidly, I mean, agile way I'm working with, lots of change requests are coming in, I'm making changes, I'm getting it tested. Before containerizing it, I want to finalize the overall implementation, and then at the end I may require containerized app. So I may start as code and then move on to container. Understood?
Yes, I mean,
one simple example I have here. You must have traveled by train sometime. We do have general coaches there. We do have sleeper coaches there. Then we do have AC 3-tier, AC 2-tier, AC first class. Yes? Ultimately, it's a train. Why do we have so many types? In flights also, you do have economy seats and business class seats. Why?
Upon the requirement and the types of users.
Absolutely. So you need to see the cost and you need to see the requirement, both. And you then find out the most suitable solution, right?
Okay, sir. Got it.
That exactly is the same thing applicable here. So for now, we'll go with code. I've selected code, so I need to tell the system what kind of code you are going to have in your application. Is it .NET framework? So I have .NET version 3.5, 4.8. Is it .NET Core? So there we have 3.1. Is it .NET 5 or .NET 6? Maybe I go ahead with .NET 5 here. What does it mean? Any application which I deploy on this domain has to be written in .NET 5 so that it is 100% compatible. .NET 6 application cannot be deployed here at all. Earlier versions can be deployed, but there could be compatibility issues, especially when you have used some feature which has changed in .NET 5. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Then here I have operating system. I am using a PaaS service where there is no VM for me. I will not be having any VM created for me, explicitly available to me, or explicitly configurable by me. But see, the code has to run on some machine, some processor. Yes or no? So
Yes,
your server has to be there in some machine, and that's where behind scenes a virtual machine is created, which is totally managed and maintained by Microsoft here. You don't have any access to it. You just have the access to your application and its configuration, right? But if your code is actually cross-platform code, you are provided with choices whether you want your backend server running on Linux machine or Windows server. So now we will go ahead with Windows. The costing also is different over here. Okay, Windows license will be slightly on the higher side, but depends again in Linux also which Linux distribution you use. Pricing will be decided by that. Red Hat Linux, if you choose, it will be costlier than Windows. Fedora Linux, if you use it, is cheaper. Ubuntu Linux is cheaper. Understand?
Yes, sir, but don't we have any free tier region instances?
We can create as per the requirement. We can deploy different types of servers on different services. So we'll be using the database also, don't worry.
Okay, sir.
Region, what is this?
We have South India there.
What is this?
The place where the data center is situated.
Where the data center is located. Okay, so you can go with South India or better go with Southeast Asia. It's a little cheaper data center region, being one of the oldest data center and quite stable. The Indian data centers are relatively new. There are few services which are not supported. And they may be supported in some time, but as of now, some are not supported. And that may create problems in our learning process. Okay, so go with Southeast Asia. Then comes Windows plan. Here it is just about a name. So I just say create new and let's name this as Prof-plan. What this is, we'll discuss in a short while. Basically, we discussed about a virtual machine being created behind scene. Yes or no? With our selection, can I say Windows-based virtual machine will be created?
Yes, sir.
So don't you think if it is a VM being created, I should be actually providing the configuration for the VM? Because I would be knowing my application better than anyone else. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So that's what basically the plan does. Here you give a name and then here you have SKU and size, which basically decides the configuration. By default, it has chosen standard S1 that provides me 1.75 GB of RAM. I can say change size and I can go for any one of these. There also on the top, I see there are three categories: dev test, production, and isolated. Production category should be used when your application is completely ready and ready for launch. There you go for production. In production, you have these many tiers with different hardware configurations, depending on how much work your application is doing, what kind of resources it requires. You will be choosing one of the plan from here so that your users keep on getting the best performance. This can be changed at any point in time. This is called as upscaling, where you are actually going to upgrade your VM. Understood?
Yes, sir.
While developing the application, do we require very heavy configuration for our application to be tried and tested?
No.
Tested means tested by the developer, not by the quality test team. We can go ahead with basic configuration also in most of the cases, right? As we will not be dealing with huge amount of data while developing. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So that's where dev test environments are there. F1 and D1 probably can be used for development. B1, B2, B3 can be used for testing. B1, B2 and B3, if you see the configuration, it matches quite a lot with S1, S2 and S3. So basically, this gives you the environment which is near to the real server on which your application is going to be deployed and used. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Now, here there is some pricing also mentioned. F1 is for free. I get 60 minutes in a day to run my application. So it could be one time 60-minute usage, or it could be one time just 1 second being used. Once the 60-minute aggregate execution has happened in a 24-hour period, my application automatically will be made unavailable. Understood? Understood?
Yes, sir.
With D1, I get 240 minutes per day. But that comes at a cost, almost 684 rupees per month. Then B1, 2 GB of RAM, 1.75 GB of RAM precisely, and there is no limit on how many times or for how long I can keep my application requests being serviced. This will be 24/7 available, and that's why it comes with a higher cost, 2314.09 INR per month. If my application is quite complex, I can go to B2. Even more complex application can go to B3. And then we have a tier called as isolated. Here basically your application will not be deployed in a VM. Here your application gets deployed on a physical machine dedicated for you. In the data center there will be a physical server which will be dedicated for you. So the applications which are running with confidentiality to be the top priority, they probably can look for this. And because it's a dedicated physical machine, you get the best possible performance also. Because only your stuff will be running on that machine. It won't be sharing the resources with anyone. Understood? Just like I have my own private server being maintained and managed by a third party, one of my partners. It's just like that. Understood? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
See the pricing. Why it is so high? They're actual server physical machines. They will be costly, right? This configuration server, if you take on rent from some vendor, probably that will cost you even more than this. Understand? So for now, we'll go with F1. So come back to dev test, select F1 and apply. Here, make sure it confirms the same thing. Then click next. How the deployment is going to happen? Is it going to be automated or manual? For automation, you need to learn the DevOps features, where you have the concepts of continuous deployment and continuous integration, CI/CD. Okay. So for now, we'll keep this disabled. Next. There is a logging framework already being made available for your application that will be hosted on App Service. This logging framework is named as Application Insights. On cloud, all the logs will be created.
So the deployment is disabled, right?
Yes. So here, this comes into picture when I'm writing a very, very complex application and there are things to actually be put into the logs. Then I will be using app insights. For simple demo applications, I don't need that. I'll just say no. This can be enabled later on also. After deployment also you can enable this. Then comes tags. What are tags? Just some extra metadata to easily identify the resource, especially required when I have multiple resources with the similar confusing names. Let's say my first tag is created by name in value. Next, I say created for learning. Next. Here is the summary of whatever configuration we have provided. And at the end, you say create. So here it shows the progress. If accidentally you get this closed, no problem. You can always click on the bell icon, which shows you the notifications. Okay, it says it has failed for me. Let me see the error message. Most likely someone has used the name that I have put. Is there anyone out? Who didn't change the name? Let me try with the name changed.
So could you please show the tags once again?
Which tab you want?
Tags, sir, tags.
Tags.
Yeah.
Tags is just the metadata information. If you have not put, that's okay. You just proceed. Once this deployment is over, I'll show you after deployment how to add the tags. It's not mandatory also. It is just extra information.
Okay.
Because the deployment has started, I cannot go back. Okay. So that extra metadata information you put in the tags, and that is actually put into the key value pair format. Understood?
Sir, it failed for me too, but I had used my name initial in the naming of the resource.
Any error message?
It says additional details from the underlying API that might be helpful. The template deployment, Microsoft web app portal, whatever the name, is not valid according to the validation process.
Can you share your screen?
Yes.
Same error for me. So for me, it says this region has 0 instances for your subscription.
Shiva, I'll just get back to you. One moment. Ishanika, can you click on this link for deployment validation field? See if it shows more details. Click OK. Yeah, there is a link, validate deployment. Click that.
This one?
Yes. Go back one level.
It was showing something.
Okay, can you go to the bell icon? Click on the deployment validation page. It's coming here only, is it? Fine, just start over again. Create the new application.
Excuse me, sir. Somebody was saying that the region for our subscription has 0 instances. So, is that an issue with the region?
Let me check. Let me check. These days, due to COVID, Microsoft has put a lot of restrictions. As the load on their servers got increased for the sponsored subscriptions and free trials, they have put some restrictions. Go for East US. All resources you will deploy in East US only if region specific error is there. Dev test F1.
Yes, sir. Worked for East US.
East US is working, right, Tushar?
Yes, sir.
Great.
Excuse me, sir. What did we change so that the error goes away?
Just the region.
Oh, what
Instead
region?
of Southeast Asia,
Yeah.
use East US.
East US.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It's done.
Right. So just make sure every time whenever we deploy any resource, you deploy in that East US region only.
Sir, can I share my screen? I just have a doubt.
Yes.
Oh, accidentally, I just.
Create new resource group there. Or if it is created already, just check in the drop down.
Drop down. Yeah, this one, right?
Yes. You
So
have
then
Providence RG also. You can use that Providence RG.
yeah. And then, so I don't have to put all the instant details and all?
Yes.
I have to fill all the form then again?
Yes.
Okay. Is this okay, sir?
Yes. Next. No. Next. Provide the tags. Next. Yeah.
So after deployment, can we turn off the app insights?
You can.
Yeah, it's done. Thank you, sir. So this is the right way to do, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Initially, it looks like too many steps are there, but once you get used to, you will find it simple. Mostly all the resources would have a similar process. Parameters being asked might be different depending on the type of resource being deployed, but overall process is quite similar. By default, you will get used to it. Just make sure whatever the question being asked there, you understand it properly and then answer it. Okay? So I hope the deployment must have been completed for all of you. You must be getting this page.
Yes, sir.
So for me, it's showing deployment is failed. So
Share your screen.
can you able to see it, sir?
What was the region you selected?
So I didn't change the region, sir. I need to create the new one or continue with this one, sir.
See if redeployment option it is showing somewhere. Do one thing. Just click on that Providence RG. The blue link is there, right, in the top left corner below Microsoft Azure. Not that. Below the logo.
This one, sir.
Go to Overview tab. Below the search box, you have Overview. Left side.
Yes, sir.
Overview. Okay, it didn't record anything. You have to start over again.
Okay, sir. I will do it.
Yeah. You guys whoever is facing the issue with region, just make sure you use East US.
No. Hello. లేదన్నా.
Sir,
Yes.
like when we got any error, then can't we just move back to the previous page and do the modification regarding East US?
That is possible. If you see here, we get the redeploy button. But for that, your deployment, if it is 100% failed, you won't get this button, redeploy. If minor issues are there, for that you can use redeploy and make changes. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Because once the deployment is done, more than 50%, then only it records the steps and the data that you give as input.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if everything is wrong, how it is going to help me? It's better to start over again. Right?
Yes, sir.
Kalyani, is it done for you?
In region, we need to check East US, right?
East US, yes. Is it done? Kalyani?
Yes, sir, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's showing deployment is in progress, sir.
Mm-hmm. It should finish in another 30 seconds to 1 minute.
Yes, sir, it got done, sir.
Yes. So having the page like this, right?
Yes, sir.
Click on go to resource here. And you should be taken to a fresh dashboard there, where it shows which resource group you have deployed to, what is the status of this service, location where you have deployed, which subscription you have deployed in, the ID of that subscription, the tags are there. If you missed giving the tags, you can click on edit here and provide the tags here. Okay?
So we went to the go to resource tab, right?
Yes. URL where the deployment has been done, app service plan which you have configured, and then for deploying from the client machines or developer machines, you have the FTP server credentials also being displayed. We're talking about app insights. If you accidentally left it enabled, you can actually come over here and click on disable. So your app insights will be disabled. Like this. Okay, and then here under settings section, we have a setting called a scale up. If you go there, it will show you your configuration once again. If your need changes at any point in time, manually you can upscale or downscale your deployment.
There one question.
Yes.
So let's say I have multiple instances deployed for an application, and I mean I have upscaled it depending upon my user base, and I have some data distributed over the whole over the two instances, and then I need to downscale it. Is there any is there any provision to transfer all the data to the instance that will be remaining behind?
See, by default, there is nothing automated as such. You have to do it yourself.
All right.
Right. The thing is, when you are downscaling, this is a VM behind scenes, right?
Yeah.
You are downscaling the configuration of that VM. And whichever applications you have deployed in this VM using the same application plan, I mean sharing the plan, the machine reconfiguration or downscaled version will be applicable to all of them.
Okay. All right.
So basically there is one machine on which one app is there, you downscale. So it's not like it will be downscaling for that app only. It will be downscaling for all the apps which are installed on it.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Okay. We do have an option of scale out also. For that, basically our tier must be, here it must be at least standard S1. Then you have the scale out feature where the auto scaling can also be configured. Like I can say if the CPU usage of my servers go beyond 80% for continuous 5 minutes, increase one more instance and load balance should be done between the server instances then. Understood? Here we do have app service plan also. The details of app service plan are displayed. You can do that scale up, scale out from here as well by going to app service plan. I come back to my main app and switch to the overview tab. I'm sure you must be getting this page, right? If you are on overview. Yes?
Yes, sir.
On the right hand side, the first thing it is displaying is the URL of your website, correct? Click that URL. Another tab must open and there in a short while it should display something, some sample content. If you are able to see this content, that means your host is ready to accept some application on it. This is a sample application with one single sample view being displayed, where you do have the links for how to use deployment center or what to do after this. Quick start tutorial is there. Got it? Yes?
Yes, sir.
What next I want here is I want to develop a .NET application and deploy this. So for that, we go to Visual Studio 2019. Create new project. What type of app I said I want? Web app. So make sure the selections in the drop-down boxes are like this. C# as language, Windows as platform, web as application type. Done?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Can you show your the project screen, like home screen, like
Can you start the Visual Studio and select create new project?
No, not that. Like, can you show your project overview, sir, in Chrome, Azure Chrome?
This is what you want to see, is it?
Yeah, sir. In my app service plan, I selected F1, but it shows for me S1. So when I'm like scaling the out also, like it doesn't allow me to scale it.
Can you share your screen? Let me see. Which region you selected?
East US.
East US, okay.
So if I click this and can you see my screen?
Click on apply.
Yeah, if I click on apply, it goes updating plan also.
Okay, there is a feature always on that has been used somewhere. You have to disable always on first of all. Wait. Just go one level back. Right on the top of the settings section, you have that link, right, for app.
This one, sir.
Yeah, click that.
It shows as plan.
Right, just a moment. Okay, just scroll down and find configuration under settings section in that middle section. Can you locate an option named as general settings? There must be a tab.
Yes, sir.
And here just find always on option. It must be at the bottom.
Here it is always on.
It's off only already.
No, I clicked it now.
Okay, click on save. And there was a lag. I thought that it is already off. Okay, now go and change the plan. Point is, if you are looking for always on means always available behavior, you cannot have a lower price tier. These are premium features, right? For developers, what is the use of making the application always available?
Separated.
Right? Once it goes to production, I mean, it becomes live, then I want it should be always available. My user should not see application not available option at all. Correct?
Yeah. Now it shows F1 for you.
Yes. So create new project there.
Yeah.
And on the resulting screen, you have to select C# as language, Windows as platform, and web as application type.
Yes.
We will choose ASP.NET Core Web App Model View Controller option. Repeat, ASP.NET Core Web App Model View Controller. Though we are not going to do anything in MVC as of now. We have already seen that, right? Practically, we can deploy that application also here. Say next. Asking for project name.
Excuse me, sir. Just one thing.
Yes.
The application that you have launched through via the URL, actually,
Yes.
it's your web application. Your web app is ready and running and something like that.
Yes.
But the one that I have deployed, I have started from the URL. It shows, "Hey, app service developers, your app service is up and running." So will that be an issue?
That is perfectly fine. The thing is, my subscription is a different one. Your one is a sponsored one. So, you know, the paid ones and the special subscriptions basically keep on getting the early updates. And that's why sometime you see the difference there.
Okay, fine.
Rest of the content must be similar, right?
Yeah,
just the title is different. So that's okay. That anyways, we are going to delete this page itself. We will be deploying our own application now.
Yeah, I just wanted to know that the whole thing has been deployed correctly or not.
Yes. So I've given the name as AZ Demo App Service. That's my location. Next. It's a .NET Core platform we have chosen, so target framework has to be chosen here. I'll go for .NET 5 because my web host basically has been configured for .NET 5, right? Rest everything goes with default values. Select create. It's ready. I'm not going to add anything of my own here because we know that whenever we use these kind of templates, some sample content is automatically placed, right? So just hit the start button to see what exactly it has generated for us. And that's a practice also, right? We do the development on local machine using local servers. We do the developer end testing as well on developer machines. And once we are done, then we proceed with the deployment. Correct? This is what I have. Now, if I add some content of my own, that will also be available here, right? Like the data-driven application, if I build using entity framework, I can do that. Menus can be changed, the content can be changed and placed here, right? So I close the browser, my application also gets stopped. Now, the actual target, please focus, the actual target is to get this application onboarded to Azure and replace this view. Simply right click this project here in Solution Explorer and click on Publish. You have been provided with some options: Azure, Docker Container Registry, folder, FTP, FTPS server, web server IAS, import profile. What are these? When to use which one? Azure, if I'm looking to deploy my application to Azure App Service or virtual machine. If I'm looking to deploy my application in a Docker container, the whole container itself I want to put in container registry, I'll go for Docker Container Registry. Folder means locally on my machine in a folder, all the deployment package will be added. You need to manually copy that to the target server and do all the configuration and settings. FTP, FTPS server is quite similar to folder, just that it connects to the server with the credentials provided and does all the deployment, copy activity, configuration activity on its own using FTP protocol. If you go for web server IaaS, that is also same as FTP, just that here it uses HTTP protocol for transferring files. And import profile comes into picture when you already have server details downloaded in some XML file, which is called as profile, and that profile you can import here so that the further deployment is automated. Where I get this profile from? So I go back to my portal overview tab. Here we have the option get published profile. This downloads the XML file and that XML file I can import here. For now I'm going with Azure. Click next. See here it provides options for Azure as well. Again we have container registry. Then we have app service on Windows, app service on Linux, app service container, and then VM. For our configuration, the first option is applicable, as we have selected app service and we have selected Windows based backend. Yes or no?
Yes.
Select Azure App Service Windows and then click next. If your Visual Studio is already logged in with the account with which you are accessing your subscription, it will automatically detect. But I guess in your case, it may not be the same. It must be showing the account which basically is the Providence account, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Just click on this drop down and select add an account, Microsoft. Here you can sign in with your private ID which you have created to get the access to the subscription. The Outlook IDs we created, right? Do the login with that. Once the login is succeeded, you should be able to see your personal login here. And which will automatically show your subscription, Azure Pass, sponsorship. You should be able to see your resource group also. And if you expand the resource group, you will be able to see your app service also.
Sir, I'm not getting any option over there. Like in my VS, it is blank. Like,
Can you share the screen?
Yeah. Is it visible?
Yes, I can see. Okay, just close this. The login dialog itself is not there, right? The option for login.
Yeah.
Okay. Just click on that admin. Okay, only this is just it. Okay, close this. See what is the icon before admin?
Feedback.
Only feedback, is it?
Sir,
Yes.
excuse me, sir. So same
Yes.
thing happened with me also, but it asked me to install a package first, and then I guess then it will show the login field.
Okay. Yeah,
So I'm
probably
installing that package
because
right now.
it's the community edition you are using, so it may be required. So can you share that package detail?
So wait, I'll share my window.
Yeah.
So is it visible?
Yes, it is. Is it from Visual Studio installer you are doing or the NuGet package?
Yes.
Must be Visual Studio installer, right?
Visual Studio.
Okay. What was the package name you selected?
Sir, it's fine. I think it was a bug. Like I restarted my Visual Studio, then it came. Then option.
See, that's what happens with the free editions. Community edition is free, no? There is no license. Okay, so just do the login properly.
So after signing in into Microsoft account, what do we have to do in app service?
Wait, I'm sharing my screen. So after signing in successfully, you should be able to see your Azure Pass sponsorship, right? The subscription.
Yes.
If it is not selected by default, just click on drop down and select it manually. Then you should be able to see the resource group that you created earlier.
Yes.
Expand that and see your app service also must be listed in that resource group. Yes.
Yes.
Select that app service and click on finish. Remember, with this step, the deployment is not done yet. It has just created a published profile. It has just recorded the inputs and nothing else.
Sir, I've
Right now,
signed.
if you go to server, there will be nothing.
Sir, I've signed in with the Microsoft account, but it is not showing the options like subscription and all.
Can you share your screen?
Yes.
I also face the same issue. You have to restart your Visual Studio once again. I think there's a lag in the the software.
Yeah, quite possible.
Yeah, let me try that.
So I just lagged behind. So do we have to do after subscription name? Go to app service instances, then select on the app.
Locate your app service. Locate
Yeah.
your app service. Select the app service and click finish. So your ultimate target screen is this. Once everyone is on this screen, let me know. We'll proceed after that.
Done, sir. Now it's working.
Okay, so everyone on the screen?
Yes.
Simply save all and then click publish. When you click this publish button, it actually starts publishing your application here. It compiles everything, builds everything, and then starts pushing it to the server. Okay, so here it says publish succeeded. Most likely it should open the browser on its own, but even if it does not, that's not a problem. Here we have the link, we can copy and paste, or else in the browser we already kept that URL open, right? Just refresh this page and see what you get. It's that simple. Understood?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So can we deploy our MVC one, which we did
Yeah, so
using
that will be our next thing where we were making use of uh, the SQL Server backend, right? We
yeah.
will
So
also try deploying our API as well.
it will be the
Department's
same thing,
API.
like directly publishing it.
Yeah, we'll do that. So here we will take a break for 20 minutes. 4:20 we'll start and we'll see those two things. Okay?
Okay.
Shall we proceed? Hey guys. Guys, you there?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the MVC application we created with the database backend, that is one thing we will be looking to deploy. The API application also we will be looking to deploy. Okay, so how do we start? Maybe there are two different approaches I'll show you. One we have seen, but still we will see once more. Here I say create resource. What did we selected here? What did we select here?
Web app.
Web app.
Web app.
Subscription, your sponsorship subscription. Resource group, should I create new or I can use the reuse the older one itself?
Older one itself.
Because as of now we can take this training as one project, and whatever we are looking to do with that project, we are looking to keep everything in one resource group, right? Web app name. Guys, please be careful. Here again I'm repeating, this name has to be globally unique. So you have to put some different name than me. Don't use exactly same name. I'll go with code for publish. Runtime stack. We need to see how our application was created, that MVC one. Was it MVC core or was it ASP.NET MVC 5? So I go to file, open project. I go to the location, Providence 5 demos, and here we have MVC Democrat, right? And here I have the SLN file. I select and open. This is the application, and it looks like that it is a ASP.NET MVC 5 application. Okay, so runtime stack, what we will be selecting here? It's ASP.NET v4.8. Region, you can use the same one which worked for you last time. Southeast Asia worked for me, so I'll go ahead with it. We already created a service plan in the previous step, right? So we can reuse that also.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Actually, while typing the web app name, I have typed the previous name itself, but it is showing that the app name is not available.
It has already checked that it has been taken already. So you can put different name there. You already deployed one application by that name, na?
Actually, we haven't deployed anything, right? We just created.
We did deploy. We created means what? We reserved the domain, no? In
Yeah. Sorry.
So even if you have not deployed from Visual Studio, still it's okay. Your domain is still reserved now.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So change it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was talking about this plan. Choosing the same plan as that of the previous one, what does it mean? It means within that same virtual machine, this new application should also be hosted. And we have selected F1. Total 60 minutes per day limit is there. So if I deploy multiple applications, each application will get only few minutes of execution time. But that's okay. Right now we are just, testing it once or twice. Where the execution time will not cross even 2 minutes. So I'm okay. I can go with the same plan. If you want, you can create new also. Next. This I'll keep disabled. Next. App Insights also I'll disable. Next. Tags. This time the good part is it automatically detected some of the tags which I have used for some of the other resources. I just select created by and created for. If it is not showing up, you can type. Next. And create. Absolutely same thing as the previous one, just one difference here. What is it? The runtime stack is not .NET 5. The runtime stack is .NET Framework 4.8. Correct? Correct? Deployment is completed. I'll say go to resource. Similar things I'll find here. I click on this URL so that it shows me the sample page, which is quite the same. What next? This is not enough. My application is using a SQL Server backend as well. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
So should we deploy this SQL Server also or not? Because from cloud, my local machine SQL Server will not be accessible, right?
Yes.
Before changing the connection string, what do you think we should be doing? On Azure, we should deploy SQL Azure instance. Just go to browser, open new tab and browse portal.azure.com. Create resource. Search for SQL Server. Here it will not show, I guess. Let's use this search box. SQL Server. Yeah, so here is the option. Right, multiple places you have search boxes. This one is not showing me what I'm looking for. So I use the main search of which is having the whole website scope for it on the top. Here I type SQL Server. I get the option SQL Servers. Got it? Able to locate or not?
Yes.
Yes. Select, and here the list must be empty for you, correct?
Yes, it's empty.
Click on plus create, the button in the toolbar of that page. You should be on this screen now. Yes?
Yes.
Again, the subscription, you know what to select. Resource group, again, I'll go for Providence RG, the previous one. Here I need to give the name to this server, which is also getting created as a subdomain. Accessible over the internet. What does it mean? This name also needs to be globally unique. I say it is over-trov demo az SQL SRV. Once I get this green tick mark over here, that means this name is available. My location is Southeast Asia. You will be required to use East US. And then it is asking for how the users are going to log in. For SQL Azure, as of now, we have not actually discussed about Active Directory services. So the other two options are not recommended for now. We'll go with SQL Authentication. Here I need to give the username and password. This user will have the admin privileges into SQL Server. So I call it as OI admin and then some password. Confirm password and then say next. This is an important step. Here you have to click on yes. Otherwise, your app service after deployment will not be able to communicate with SQL Azure.
Excuse me, sir, could you just go back to the basics one? I missed out the last part. The password and username one.
Just give any user ID that you want and the password of your choice. It need not be the same as me. Just remember that user ID. Okay. So when you are on networking tab, make sure here you have selected yes for allow Azure services and resources to access this server. If you keep it no, after deployment, your application will not be able to talk to SQL Server. Next. Here it is asking for if you want any security module to be used for SQL database server. This is something which we can do after deploying also. So while developing the application, we don't need this because it comes at a cost. Though we can say start free trial, but then if the free trial is over and if my subscription is still continuing, I will be unnecessarily billed. So that's why for now, for development time, we go with not now. Here comes the next step, which you know, tags. I'll say created by, created for with their respective values. Next and create. I told you, most of the resources have a similar flow. Yeah, depending on the type of resource being deployed, some of the questions can change. That is sensible, right? One thing to be noticed, in previous case, we deployed 2 web app services, right? So far? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Did we do any installation actually? What do you think? If you want to set up a web server on a Windows machine, you require some installation to be done. Did we do any installation in previous 2 cases?
No.
It just asked few questions which we answered and it created the instances for us, right? Right?
Yes.
And it is the same case for SQL Azure also. We didn't do any installation. No VM, no operating system, no software. It was just asking few questions, we answered them, and at the end it says deployment is complete. I click on go to resource.
So do we enable Defender?
No. Anything which is asking for money, we will not be using it right now. Two things, we are learning. So first we will focus on elementary things. Second thing, even if you are not learning, you are into the stage of developing applications. While development, you don't require all those security and the other features, right? When you go for final deployment at the client end in the production environment, there you need those features. Understand?
Yes, and what about the network thing? We have to
select yes.
Yes, no? Okay.
Next to that would be tags, right?
Yeah, tags. Then the
give the tags, next, and review and create. So once the deployment is completed, you will again get that same button, go to resource. If you click that, you should come here. Any of those options which we are not setting up or we forgot to set up can be configured from here also. You can see on the screen all options are there. Left hand side, this section also represents all options. Is everyone done? And on this page,
yes, sir.
Give you one more minute, just everyone make sure you are on this page.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
The initial web app thing, like I created this web app in a different resource. That would be a problem.
Technically, yes, the problems are there when you are using two resources into different resource groups. Two different resource groups means your location may be also different, right? So there will be latency coming in.
Oh, when I click move, like it showed it succeeded, but in the overview part, it isn't showing the resource group has changed.
And that's okay. For now, it's fine. Next time onward, just take care. Right? All related things should be together. You can actually move your resource also.
Yeah, I moved it, but in the overview part, it isn't showing it to the overview group.
Okay, we'll see. Let's complete the demo first, then we'll see. Okay, so server instance is ready. But this server right now, if I configure for my application, wait. This is the server name, right? Fully qualified server name. I get it copied using this copy to clipboard button. When I hover on it, it pops up. I go back to my connection string settings. Here I say server is no more local DB ms local DB. I paste the server name that I have copied from the portal. Database is fine. Trusted connection will not work because we have configured SQL authentication. So I have to say user space ID is equal to, I gave OI admin and followed by semicolon, and then password is equal to whatever password you have given. So trusted connection equals to true, you have to remove. In place of that, user ID and password you have to put. Save. This is not going to be allowed for the connection as of now, because right now this Azure by default blocks the requests which are coming from outside of Azure. Where do we see that? We have an option, show firewall settings. Click that. Azure services are allowed, we said yes earlier. If you miss that, you can change it here. But then none of the IP addresses are whitelisted here, which means from outside Azure there will be no request accepted. I want my machine to accept the request. I mean, my machine should be allowed to be connected. My IP is this. It has automatically detected what is my public internet facing IP. I just need to click on add client IP. It automatically records into start IP, end IP, and then I say save. Okay. What did I do? Add client IP. It automatically creates the entry here, and then I clicked on save.
So can you show that web config in?
Sure.
Yeah.
I change the server name and then trusted connection true. I remove that and I put user ID and password there. So here your database server name should go in. Your user ID, whatever you have given while creating the SQL instance, your password, whatever you gave during creating the instance. That's what you will put.
So I had lagged in the middle. Did you change the project?
No, this is the same MVC project.
Okay, fine.
The one we created the other day, no, with SQL Server backend being used. That one is the project. Okay, so I just want to test this locally first of all.
Sir, what did you add after, like after putting all of this? You saved something, right? On Azure, the IP, yeah. Where?
Here I went to show firewall settings. I clicked on add client IP and save. And then OK. Got it? Here I click departments.
So please show the web config page once.
Just a moment. Just a moment. One thing here, if you remember, we are using code first approach of entity framework, and that required us to do some migration thing, right? Even on the local server as well. Yes or no?
Yes.
Migration basically created my database, correct? If I get an error over here, something like connection refused or database doesn't exist or something, that means the migration is failing. Okay, this is timed out. Timeout error, probably you can just try refreshing the browser. 99 out of 100 times it solves the issue. If connectivity issue is there, then we have to do something. Basically, we have to run the migration. Now, in this case, you can see there was no migration required. It automatically ran the migrations. It has already created a database. If I say create new, this is going to work for me. Saved. All other operations you can try out, they are all working. But in this case, what is happening? My database is on cloud, but my client application is actually running locally. And that I wanted just to test whether I'm able to connect to the database properly or not.
So it says SQL exception.
Can you read the message?
Yeah. It says the timeout period elapsed prior to completion.
Just refresh. Just refresh your browser.
Yeah, it is still infinitely loading and it's not showing anything.
Try one more time.
Yeah, I'll do that.
And did you do the firewall setting?
Yeah, I did that, sir.
You saved also, right?
Yeah, I saved also.
Sir, after firewall setting, what we have to do?
Once the firewall setting is done, here you have to update your connection string and run the application locally.
Okay.
So from within Visual Studio, you just start the application. It should work. Okay, if error is persistently coming, you just need to go to Package Manager console window and type update database there. Your migration is already enabled. Your migration script already generated. You just need to rerun that migration script because you have changed the server. So type update -database, press enter. It will take some time to create the database and then start the application.
So 2 commands, right?
Only update database.
Okay, only update.
Why are we doing this, sir?
If you are not able to get the database generated by the application automatically, then only you have to do it.
Oh, so my thing is working, so I don't have to do anything.
Ignore.
So it says exception has been thrown by the target of an invocation. After
check your connection string. Your connection string seems to be incorrect.
After updating the connection string, what do you do?
Run the application. Samriti, you can share your screen if error is still there.
I'll do that.
Go to the portal first of all where SQL Azure is deployed.
I think the current connection string is correct.
I need to see that once.
Confirm it.
Server name, just verify if you have given it correctly.
Yeah, it's correct. I don't know what's going on.
User ID and password also correct. Is it? Okay, show me the firewall settings. Samriddhi, show me the firewall settings. Samriddhi, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me, Samriddhi?
You are audible, sir.
Samriddhi is not able to hear me, I guess.
So what's the error?
Hello, am I audible to you, Samriddhi? Hello.
Hello, am I audible?
Samriddhi, you are audible, but am I audible to you?
Um,
If you're able to hear me, just unshare and share your screen again. I guess
not able
my
to
voice
hear
is
you
not
guys.
reaching. Am I audible now, Samriddhi?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Samriddhi.
Yeah. Sorry, it was issue at my end. Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, zoom the code
No, okay.
and then show me the firewall settings on portal. Server name also you copied and pasted, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now let me see the error, what it is.
Okay.
Wait. Go back to the portal again. Okay. Go to Visual Studio. Can you go to the top where the exception message starts? Okay, can you change the default project there, Samriddhi?
Default project here.
Yes, DAL, because there we have our file, no?
Oh yeah, okay, that's why.
Type CLS first of all. Now type update dash database. Okay, still it is the same error. Scroll up. It is saying could not load file or assembly. Can you go to Solution Explorer? Right click on DAL and select rebuild. Go back to Solution Explorer. expand the references of democrat application. Okay, DAL is added. Right click this project and say rebuild. Now go to package manager console, CLS, and run that update database. Scroll up. You only were getting the issue with the permissions and all, right, Samriddhi?
No.
It was Bhavya, I guess. This has something to do with the permissions.
Oh.
You have to copy it to C drive and then do this.
The whole project, right?
Yes.
Then update database.
Yes.
Okay, I'll do that.
So even I'm getting some kind of error.
Yes, sir. I'm also getting error.
Okay. One of you can share the screen.
The screen is visible, sir.
Keyword not supported. Your connection string is wrong, Avinash. Stop the program. Go to web config file.
Yeah, here.
Where is server equals to? You deleted server also.
Okay, okay.
Put server equals to VA Providence. Now run it. Just continue. Click on continue button in the toolbar, Avinash. Refresh. Okay, just do the data entry, it will work. Yeah, who was next?
Yeah, I was. I'll share
Bhavya.
the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I change the permissions to everyone in that same folder where I have all
Yes.
the applications, will it work then?
It should.
Because in the C drive it is working properly like any other computer, but why is it happening in the same folder which I'm using?
I think because the folder is in your OneDrive and
Correct.
it does
Yeah.
not get synced. So that's
But
why the file is
that two
not in your
projects are
system,
not.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
it
but
happened
that.
with me also.
Okay, but that did not get synced. That's why I was asking.
See, ultimately, OneDrive connectivity means that folder is taken as a network share. And network share based execution for database applications don't work.
Okay, okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Bhavya, I guess you have not put the firewall settings. Can you go to the portal?
Yeah.
Okay, it seems it's done, but then why it is failing?
So right now she's connected to the VPN and hence the IP keeps changing. That may be the issue.
Okay, in that case, Bhavya, what you can do is click in the start IP box. Just click on that 43.
43. Yeah.
Yeah, here. Below. Yeah. Delete 43 and put 1.
01 or just 1?
1.
Okay.
And go to the next one. Delete 43 and put 254. Save. So whichever IP it takes from VPN, it will just work.
Okay.
With this range being provided. Refresh.
It didn't work.
Stop and run again.
I was also facing this error, but it resolved itself kind of.
That is because of the IP address being changed continuously. If you are on the corporate network, this happens. Once you get the exact same IP address, it works. But whenever you get a different IP address, it doesn't work.
It's not working.
What is the range it is showing? 34.98.207. Can you go to portal?
Yeah.
And the range is missing.
Yeah, just correct that range. Refresh this page.
It's still showing the same. 207.
But it is actually taking a different IP address. Can you copy that IP address from the error message? And make a new one.
Sir, wouldn't it be easier to disconnect from the VPN directly?
That is something as a last solution. Yeah, so 2 IP address because one is your home connection IP address and one is the VPN IP address. Request is going from VPN, but the portal is detecting the IP address of your home connection. That's why the mismatch.
I'll start it again.
Well, it would have worked. Because if this kind of error was supposed to be repeated, it would have come quite quickly. Behind scenes, it is running migrations, no? So it is taking time.
Yeah, actually in the error it showed that it would take up to 5 to 10 minutes.
Yep. Not that much, but yeah, 2-3 minutes it takes. So guys, so far, do you find this interesting?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Scroll down, Bhavya. In that error pop-up, you have to scroll down.
Sir, I also got the same error. Maybe her connection string is having this issue.
Invalid object name dbo.departments. Okay. No worries. Go to package manager console, Bhavya. Just stop the program first. Open package manager console. Type CLS. Type CLS there in Package Manager console. Now update -database. If automatic migration doesn't work, we can always apply the manual migration. It has worked. Now run it. It will work. Yes. Create new. Add the record. It will work. Anybody else having issue?
Just one question, sir. What's the command for manually
update -database, Tushar?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Even I am having an issue with database access.
Share your screen, Thierry.
This is the error that I'm getting. So
Okay, first of all, go to portal. Go to portal first. You didn't selected that yes option for the network setting. So click yes. Now show me the IP address which it is showing in the error. Copy that IP address.
Yeah, copy it.
Go to portal. In rule name, empty box, just type something. My local machine something. Paste the IP. Paste the IP in end IP also. And click save. Okay. Go back to Visual Studio. Update database. Again run update database. And meanwhile, show me your connection string.
I think it is done.
Yeah, it's done. Now run the application, it will work.
Yeah, it's working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else having trouble? Now see here, we need to publish our application as well, right? Locally it's working. So I want to get it onboarded to Azure. How do we publish? We have seen that before, so you can guide me.
Right click on project.
Yes.
Click on publish.
Done.
Select Azure.
Done.
Next.
Done.
Azure App Service window. Next.
Okay. Login this time need not be done again because you have already done that in the previous step, right?
Yes.
So it will
Here,
detect everything.
expand Providence RG. Select the. Yes. Finish.
This is the new one.
Yes. Finish.
That's it, or something else needed? Save all and publish. So one assignment here, guys. You have got the web API application also, right?
Yes, sir.
You have to deploy that web API application now to Azure on a separate SQL Server instance. Can you do that? Here the publish is finished, so I just refresh this page. Here I click departments. Records are there. If read is working, everything else is going to work, no problem. Simple, right?
Yes, sir.
Now your assignment, I'll just give you some initial input. You have to go to Visual Studio, File, Open, Project Solution, and then you have to open that. What was the name given? Was it this? API Demo Web API?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Select the solution. This application now you have to publish, and the backend server should not be the same that we used in the previous demo. It should be a new backend server instance created. Can you do that?
Yes, sir.
Exactly same process which we followed in the previous demo has to be followed here. All right, so that will be the end of the day once you're done.
On the
So
same.
who is very confident that you can do it, can share your screen, any one of you, and guide others.
So we have to do it on the same resource group, right?
Resource group will be same, but I want 2 new deployments. So the SQL Server instance also I want to be created from scratch. So who is confident?
Oh, can I share?
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So I'm already in the.
So just assume I am not here. You are guiding your colleagues to get this thing done. So start from scratch.
when you go to the main portal of Azure, create a new resource, search SQL servers. It's already there in the recent searches. So create new one. And that data group, resource group will be the Providence RG thing. Server name, I'll mention it. Server name. Web API. Mine was Central US. East US. Use SQL authentication and create a new admin. I'll say API admin. Select a password. Next networking, we need to click yes for this to give the permissions. Next additional settings, not now for retry. Tags, you can put tags, whatever you can create. And this is the total thing, the subscription, the resource group, the server name, the SQL authentication, my admin login, and need to click create. So once this is created, we need to create the web API also for publishing it.
Easy, right? Sure.
Yeah, yes, we need to go to create resource.
Yeah, so you may not remember all the steps always, but once you start doing it, you do it 2 or 3 times, you remember. And most of the options come as self-explanatory, right?
Here runtime stack, we need to click the ASP.
We use .NET version 4.8, right? So that will be the one.
Windows East US. The Providence plan, because I selected the same resource group, it already updated the plan here. And next to deployment, disable. Monitoring no. Tag save created for running. Clear. This is done. Create. This is done. Go to resource. Go to firewall settings. Here we need to add client API. It automatically added my client API. I need to save this. And now we are done with the SQL server part. And this web API is running. And here I go to web API.
Web config, Shiva. The last file.
Yeah.
Not this. There are 2 copies actually.
Oh.
Extreme last year.
Here I need to change this one.
Yeah, so almost done. I hope everyone has understood this. Okay, so just complete this and we are done for the day. Tomorrow when we start with the session, I mean on Monday, we'll be beginning with Azure Functions, followed by the blob storage services in general. Then we will be moving on to Cosmos DB database and ES solutions, where we will see how to create and work with virtual machines. Okay, so that is it.
So.
Oh, so many echoes.
Yeah.
So actually, while publishing the web API MVC CRUD application, so
your voice got lost in between.
it did not yeah, got published.
With web API, it will be good if you run the migrations also.
I didn't do this migration.
You can do it once this publish is finished. What you have to do, update dash database, that is it.
Yeah,
in the DAL project.
DAL project, yes. The web config.cs file, that's it.
No, in package manager console. Yes, Amrit, you were saying something.
Sir?
Yes.
Include Swagger in this also?
Swagger is enabled already, right? So if you remove help and type Swagger there, it will show up.
No problem. Good. Right out. No, it shows an error, but I guess I need to update the database.
Correct. Did you change the connection string?
Yeah. I changed the
Server name, user ID, password.
Here. Package manager.
Select the database DAL project as default. Okay, we added everything in API project itself. Just say update database.
No migrations. I need to add migrations.
You know why? We didn't add the migration. So here you have to start from the first command. Enable migrations. Enable dash migrations. While creating this application, we reuse the existing database, no?
Choose keynotes about it.
Go to web config. You deleted server, I guess. Yeah, server equals to.
So it should be in the
Inside double quotes. Save and then rerun the command.
have already been added.
Okay. Add migration.
Sir, I had a doubt. If we delete any of the resources that we have created in the resource group, like for example, if I delete any of the like app, whatever I have created in Azure, will I have to publish it again in this
Yes.
Visual Studio?
Yes. So for now, it's okay if you have deleted. We are not going to reuse most of these apps. I would just need the web API and its backend SQL server. Rest you can delete, no problem.
So it shows name. I can see.
Yeah, you didn't give the name to a migration. No? Type initial create. Press
So
enter.
if you don't give the name, it will ask again.
Yeah, very strict. Now update database.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
One small confirmation. So what are the projects we're gonna use in future?
Just the last one, Web API and its backend.
Okay, sir.
Everything else you can delete.
Okay, sir.
Delete means on Azure you can delete.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
API will be required, and for API, the new backend server that we created, that also will be required.
So it shows execution time not expired.
Again run it. Now go to Swagger and save. Try it out.
So it shows an error occurred.
I think he has not started the server. No, not this server. On the Visual Studio.
No, that is okay. That
That
is
is okay. We just published
local
it.
one only. Can you run it locally once? Let's see if it is working locally.
Yeah.
So it has worked for me.
Yes, it should.
Oh,
You're
I guess I
getting
think I had it in me.
that's okay. So locally there is no problem, right?
Yeah, look.
Can you go to portal?
So for those of us like who have done it and like it's working for us, like can we leave?
Yes. So we'll meet on Monday, 9:30 a.m. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Shiva, can you click on show firewall settings? Azure services are allowed, right? And you are not on VPN, correct?
No.
Okay, so this is not having any problem. Can you show me the error?
Yes. An error occurred. Like, should I add something? Or try.
Not required actually. Let's see if post works. It shouldn't show error basically. It's okay if it shows the empty array, like locally what it is doing.
No, it was another.
That's what. Some communication error it is. Can you go to Swagger UI? Copy the base URL up to .NET.
Sir, just to confirm, after changing the connection string, we just have to publish, right?
Yes. Better you test it locally first of all.
By rebuilding, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, clicking on start button. Shiva, open Postman on your machine if you have copied that.
Yeah.
Paste the URL here and get. Close this release notes.
Yes.
Okay, and click send. Shows error only. Can I see your API once? Go to Visual Studio.
Yes. It shows publish of the.
That is okay. Go to Solution Explorer. Open Departments API controller.
This was locally working. Right.
Okay. Go back to Swagger. That is quite strange why it's not working. Go to Postman. How come the web page come back here? Oh yeah. Sorry. In the address bar of this window, put API/departments API.
Oh.
We missed that.
API.
No, that is okay. That is okay. API
Okay.
/departments API, DEPTS API. Send.
Oh, it shows the same.
Internal server error.
Azure. All the things. Oh, this is the web app. This is also created.
Check your connection string. Are you using the correct server name? And show me the server name on portal. Pro web api.database.windows.net. Pro web api.database.windows.net. Database company DB user ID. Admin password equals to password. Multiple active result set. Scroll right. Equals to true.
User ID is cap space. Okay.
That is okay. No problem with that. All looks good. Do one thing. Go to Visual Studio. Go to View. There must be Cloud Explorer window. Open that.
Yeah.
Azure Pass sponsorship. Expand. App services.
Oh, this one.
Web API. Right click. And say attach debugger.
Sir, if the Swagger is if I'm using Get API and is showing 500, so should I go ahead with enable migrations or wait?
That's what I'm trying to solve for Shiva also, if it is 500 error. So we are trying to find out what is causing that error, because locally it is working.
Okay.
Shiva, just switch back to that Swagger UI tab, which is already open.
The following module was built with optimization.
Close this. Disable just my code and continue. Okay, now go to browser. Go to that Swagger UI tab and click on Git. Try it out.
Same. Same. Another responsibility.
Okay. Go back to Visual Studio. Stop. That red square is there, right? In the toolbar. Go back to Cloud Explorer. Okay, before that, do one thing. Go to Solution Explorer. Right click on Web API. Publish. After making the changes to web config, you published or before?
After changing the web config, I published it.
Okay. Do you see this configuration release and then pencil? Click on that pencil. In the drop down for release, click and select debug. Save and publish. Swagger. Yeah. This is on the server, right? Okay, wait. Go to Visual Studio first. In Cloud Explorer, again, right click on SK Pro Web API, attach debugger. Okay, go to the first Swagger UI tab. First one, third tab it is. Click on try it out.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Response to 200.
What was the error? But
Yeah.
probably you modified your config file after publishing.
Possible.
Yeah, that is the only reason why it was failing.
No, like first I put the connection string and all those things.
Okay, but you might have made some changes after publishing.
Oh, this server thing, I guess.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sir, I have an error. Please, can you see the screen? Can I share the screen?
Yes.
So first I'll complete with the web API because I have a problem in that. So this is working properly. So I'll
locally is it working?
Yeah, locally beforehand it's working. Now I've changed the server, right? So
yeah, after changing server, it should work locally.
Okay.
Put Swagger.
Yeah, I'm just putting this a second.
So what else should we delete in our resources in Azure?
Except the web API and its SQL server, delete everything else.
Why is it taking so much time?
Meanwhile, it is running. Just show me your web config file.
Yeah.
You have updated the server, right?
Yeah.
I mean, connection string and all.
Yes.
Okay, show me the firewall settings also.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Oh.
Database company DB already exists. It says.
So it does exist.
This is local one, no?
Yeah, this is
Your
local.
application now is using a new connection string, correct?
Yeah.
Show me the connection string. Make it company DB2. Save and run again.
So meanwhile, I need to show you something else. So the home page for the last one, which is the MVC application, it showed an error after doing all the publish work. It was successful, but then it took a lot of time to load, and then after this,
click on departments.
Yeah, so it took a lot of time to load, and then
your database generation may not be done properly. So first of all, run the migrations and then try.
Here, right?
Yeah.
So only update database?
Update database, yes. This is MVC app, right? So update database only.
Yeah. Yeah, it's done.
Then it should work. Can I see the config file of this? Basically the connection string. It's still using local DB. You didn't update the connection string here.
Oh.
So how will it work?
I'll do that. Okay, I'll do that.
So just check the firewall and the connection string. These are
I'll do that for this
things.
one. But for this one, why is it saying 500?
This is okay. Now it says the operation timed out, right? So just click on try it out once more. That's why update database should be done from package manager console, so that here you won't get these errors. See, working. Okay. Now then, data is not displayed because there is no data.
Yeah, there's no data right now. So now I'll just go on update database. Should I do it right now?
You can try. I mean, you can try. You have 2 days.
I'll just do this right now. Just a second, sir. Just a second. Enable migrations. Just a second, sir.
No, API now doesn't require that because it's already done by the runtime itself. We got the empty square brackets, right? So it's working now. Nothing required here.
Okay, then so I should just go on publishing,
Only
right?
the MVC application you have to fix. This you can publish. That's why we run it locally first. If locally it is working, remotely also it has to work. Without changing the code, we publish it as it is, no?
And then we have to publish it again also, no?
If you make some changes, then.
Yeah, I did not make any change, but then it took like, I don't know.
No, if you make a small change also, one character code also, if you have changed.
Then I have to do publishing. Okay.
So if web config is changed or if anything is changed, you have to publish again. Otherwise, how server will know that you have changed something?
This is not hot to load.
Yeah, because you have 2 machines now.
Yeah.
One is your machine, one is server.
Yeah. Just a second, sir.
That is what happened with Shiva also. Publish succeeded, right? Just type /swagger at the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Working.
But then why it is not showing the screen?
Because there is no root over there to display. It's an API project.
Oh yeah. So then we will not be able to see any table also, no?
That's okay.
Because we haven't done all the.
With API, how the table will come? The table we saw in the client application written using Angular and React.
Yeah, React. We did not do anything of that such.
So now one more thing you can try is you can try changing the API address in the Angular and React application and see if they are able to talk to the cloud service.
Of this app, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do that.
Instead of localhost colon some port number, this server address will come there.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that.
Just try
okay.
that.
Thank you, sir.
MVC, you will take it ahead, right?
Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you, sir.
Sir, I'm also having some error. I'll share my screen.
Yes, probably.
Yeah. So I'm getting this error.
Okay, go to Visual Studio. Stop the program. Package Manager console. CLS. Migrations did you not add or what? Just try saying update database, update-database. Can I go to Solution Explorer again? Expand migrations folder. So add migration has not worked. So go to Package Manager console. Type add-migration in double quotes initial create.
I didn't write type hyphen first.
Yes, that's why it failed. This file should be there if migration has been added, right? Now say update that database. Now go to the portal. /swagger. So if you publish now, it will work.
Actually, I also had, yeah, it's working. I also, if anyone else don't have any doubt, then I also had a doubt in yesterday's Angular part.
Okay. Tell me.
It's showing me that yeah, in Angular, it's showing me that this file does not exist. Bootstrap min.js, and that's why it's not running.
Okay, can you open it in VS Code?
Yeah.
Node modules, your path is incorrect actually. Just open angular.json file in that.
This one is React. Yeah. So can you see my screen?
Yes, I can. Open angular.json file. It must be towards the end. Scroll down. Yes. Line number 33, node modules.
Yep. I've read here
Node modules, you have put node module, put S.
Okay.
Then line number 38 also.
Okay.
Save and restart your server. ng serve you have to do again.
And I don't have to do npm start. No, it's not React.
npm start is for React, no? It will work. It was not loading because of the incorrect path, nothing else.
Also, I'm having trouble in my React. The complete page is coming blank. I didn't tell you yesterday because I was having the same trouble with of my permissions that it was in OneDrive. So I got lagged. So I got it up to date, but still not working. Like I did it today, and I'm getting a complete blank page.
Okay, just show me.
Yeah. Yeah.
First check if NG app has started.
Yeah, it's compiled successfully.
Yeah, so it's working.
Yeah.
NPM start.
I'm getting a complete blank page.
Press F12 function key.
Yeah.
Scroll to the top in this window. 13 errors it is showing. So there are typos.
Okay.
Just check your code once. You can go through the video again.
Okay.
Right. Tomorrow I'll be in a session actually. Otherwise I would have connected again tomorrow. So maybe on Sunday we can connect.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's time you can utilize to go through the video.
Yeah. Okay.
So just one doubt, I'm going to share. I'm not taking much time. Just a second, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, as you said, I did all the things here in the NVC part. I'll just show you everything here. The connection string here, and then I also did update database, and it is running properly. So Swagger should open, without any problems, but it's not opening. Everything else is working fine. Departments is also working, but
Samriddhi, this is MVC application. When we enabled Swagger into this.
so then how will we check whether?
Click on department menu, na? Create new, add the values. We have the UI, no, here.
I'm sorry, I just got. So I just need to publish now. That's it, right?
That is what I was thinking. Here you are running MVC application, and there you are trying to go to
I'm
Swagger.
really sorry, sir. I just need to publish. I think everything will be fine then.
Yes,
Okay, sorry,
yes,
sir. I will do that.
No problem.
Thank you, sir.
Happens.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. See you tomorrow. I mean Monday.
Okay, sir.